Hello, this is meteorologist Luebcke-Eckstein. Um, Coming in with an update on the eclipse forecasts for October 2023 and April 2024. I know I did this back in April of 2023, this year. I said that I was going to hopefully do it every month, and I haven't done that. But hopefully, fingers crossed, I can do it these forecasts a little more often, at least for the October 2023 eclipse right now, which is just over a month away. It's September 11th right now, so we're looking at only 33 days away now, 1 month and 3 days from today. So these forecasts for that eclipse will be done a little more often now. So hopefully we'll be able to see it in some portions of the west here. Most of the west we should be able to see it for sure, but the part of the west that is least likely to see it would be west of the Cascades. So hopefully everywhere, including west of the Cascades up in Oregon, we'll be able to see it. So I'm going to go through a few forecasts right now from different, mostly climate models still, actually all climate models still, because the only forecast models that go out, only go out 16 days, so we're not looking at those in that time period yet, but we'll be starting to. We have a climate model that, well, I'll get to that, but most of these climate models only give you a general picture for what the whole month might look like. There is one that attempts, the resolution isn't very good, but it does attempt to forecast out 32 days, and so that will start getting into our October eclipse time period starting tomorrow. So that'll be exciting to see how that changes over the next month. Of course, it's not very accurate a month out, but that's why we'll watch to see how it changes. All right, so here's one model. This is called the CAN-SIPS model. It's a climate model. This is it's forecast for basically surface temperature anomaly. So if it's warmer or cooler than average, and this is a run from August 30th actually, and it runs once every month. So, and this is its forecast for the entire month of September. And as you see, I'm going to be using some annotation tools here. There's a large area here in Midwest where it's forecasted to be much warmer than normal during the course of the month of September. Of course, we're not interested really in September for these eclipse forecasts. We're interested in more in October. You'll see as we get further and further in the future, especially beyond 1 month here, that there's no big area of concentrated cold or concentrated warm anomalies, just because as you get further and further in the future, it averages out a lot of different possible scenarios. So the annular eclipse path is something like this. That's an approximation. That's the annual eclipse path in October. So I'm just going to probably draw this 1 or 2 times, maybe a few more, but if I need to illustrate something, but it's there in the west. So this model is forecasting basically above normal temperatures, most likely. That doesn't really tell you much in terms of sky cover, which is the most important thing, obviously, when you're viewing an eclipse. This is for the October eclipse. Let's go forward while we're on this one to see what it forecasts as we go forward. It's interesting. This has been giving a lot of cold signal after the new year, east of the Rockies, which basically is indicative of cold air diving down from Canada in the wintertime, but in an El Nino year, that's doesn't happen a lot, but we'll see. Above normal in the northwest. This is February, so let's go to April. Now, April, we're coming out of an El Nino. I haven't looked actually to see what the forecast for El Nino are for April, but usually it peaks during the winter and then it goes down to the next year, and then it can go back up into another El Nino the following year, or it can go back down to neutral, or even into a La Nina. I'm guessing it's not unlikely that it'll be going fully into a La Nina again because we just had 3 winters of it, but I haven't looked at that at all. So April, now the April eclipse goes from, and I don't know this, the absolute certain path, but it's approximately like this. Actually, it's probably pretty good. That's the approximate path of the April eclipse, total eclipse, and so this far out, almost a year in advance. I guess not a year. It's do this math real quick. 7 months in advance. This model here is pretty much maybe equal chances of above normal and below normal temperatures. Now again, this temperatures were not that doesn't really affect precipitation, except that well, in the east it could, and warmer temperatures in the east in the spring could result in more thunderstorms possibly, but we'll see. Let's go to the precipitation forecast. This is what we're most interested in. So, precipitation forecast from the same Kansas climate model. Let's go to October. This is September here. So October. Now this model forecasts a pretty dry west of the Cascades, which would be good for viewers west of the Cascades in Oregon with this eclipse path. Usually, October is the start of the rainy season there. This is about the eclipse path here. So this means that possibly we could be able to see, according to this model, there could be some clearer skies. But again, this is a whole month average. A whole month, it forecasts, okay, the whole entire month is going to be below normal in rainfall. Any certain days, we don't know. So that's the problem trying to forecast this day in advance. Trying to forecast for eclipses, because eclipses occur at a certain time and a certain day. You can't pick whatever day of the month you want. So let's go forward on this model to April, and this model has been forecasting below normal precipitation here in the I guess this would be the lower Ohio Valley and into Arkansas. And the eclipse goes right through this area, comes right through Arkansas. And so this area right here, maybe currently an above normal chance of a clearer sky. Again, this is one day in April 8th next year. So, and this is just a long-term climate model for 7 months out. Actually, this was 8 months out, I believe, when it was raining in August. But, and possibly above normal rainfall up here in upstate New York. But we'll see. That's just what this model shows. Okay, let's look at what's called the climate forecast system model. I have a lot more in this one to show you. This is, I'm going to go to this right here. This is a climate forecast model. It's ran by the U.S. government, National Weather Service, National Centers for Environmental Prediction and Climate Prediction Center. And this is, let me actually show you the page here. You can find these all on this page right here if you want to go to that page. But these are an average of a lot of different individual forecasts. They're called ensembles that are from conditions of the last 30 days. Okay, and each of these has 3 versions. Right here, the first one is from the earliest 10 days of that 30 days. The second day is from the middle 10 days. And the third ensemble is from the latest 10 days. So here I'm going to show you 3 of each. And if you scroll down actually to the data, which is where you can get these from, you'll see E1, E2, E3. And those are those 3 different sets of ensembles. So in this case, since we're actually getting pretty close to the October eclipse, a month away, the E3 data from the latest 3 days is probably going to be the most accurate. If it was still like months out, I would say, well, there's really not much of a difference. Now these, let me just go to here. These only go out to like February, so I can't. So these don't have any indications here for the April eclipse yet. All right. So this is the E1. This is from the earliest 10 days. Now when I save the last 30 days. Let me see if there's a, yeah, there's data here. Okay, so this is from initial conditions from August 12th or August 21st here, and you see it's forecasting wetter than normal. I'm going to change my thickness of this, or I guess I can change it here. It's forecasting wetter than the normal conditions out in western and central Oregon. Well, that's about it along this whole eclipse path here in terms of abnormalities in precipitation. If we go to the next model, this is with an initial conditions August 22nd to August 31st, and it's still forecasting above normal precipitation in Oregon as well as in much of Texas. Which again, this is for the entire month of October, so it's not for any one specific day, just for the whole entire month. So that means that any given day might have an above normal chance. Now, if we go to the most recent 10 days, September 1st through 10th, which is, like I said, the most, the one that you probably want to look at the most is because it's getting a little closer. We see complete opposite story. This actually matches what we saw in the April forecast as well as in that Kansas model that I just showed you. This climate prediction system model is forecasting actually a significantly far below normal rainfall for October, for the whole entire month of October, west of the Cascades, okay, in Oregon, and then above normal in Texas. So it's possible that Texas may see above normal rainfall in October. Again, this is for the entire month, and it's also just a prediction from just over a month out here. Well, a month out, it's over a month away from the eclipse, but less than a month actually from the start of October, and possibly below normal out in Oregon, which would be ideal for west of Oregon. This Texas rainfall is more likely to be showery, so it could be completely clear in the morning of the eclipse, and still have a great chance of above normal rainfall the rest of the month. So that's why it's really hard to tell just from these. But as we get further, I mean, as we're still further away, it's the only way that we can kind of make a forecast. These next three are showing you temperature anomalies for the month of October from these same three models. So above normal in Texas and New Mexico, above normal that the second 10 days here, mostly above normal across the whole entire eclipse path, especially in Texas. And then from the most recent 10 days forecast, above normal, kind of far above normal across the whole entire eclipse path. And this above normal here in the west is pretty indicative of possibly a ridge building over the west, which would give warm temperatures and above normal precipitation. So if that's the case, then people west of the Cascades may have a good chance of seeing the eclipse. Now again, this is for the entire month. This is not for one specific day, however. So I need to make sure that I mention that. These last three tabs I have are just for the temperatures above the surface, and so I'm just going to show you the most recent 3 days. And again, we see this warm air, which would be indicative of a ridge for most of the month, and then possibly not necessarily cooler than normal air, but possibly average temperature air across the eastern part of the country. All right. So let's go back to now some other maps here. This is from the National. Oh, sorry, this is from the Climate Prediction Center, which is part of the same group. And this is their forecast for. They give 3 months, 3-month average temperatures. So for September, October, and November, as a combined third, they have an above normal chance of. Above equal chance. Sorry, I'm not saying this right. a likely above, sorry, a leaning above to likely above chance of above normal temperatures. I know that sounds kind of redundant, but it's a higher than normal chance of above normal temperatures, basically. That's what I want to say. And then out here west of the Cascades, an above normal chance of below normal precipitation. So they're expecting it to be warmer than normal across the whole entire eclipse path. Again, this is just a 3-month average now, September, October, and November. So this is just 3-month average, and then a below normal chance. Sorry, an above normal, an above average chance of below normal precipitation. So they're expecting it to be um, drier here west of the Cascades, and pretty much the same, um, equal chances of approximately normal precipitation, except for a little bit in New Mexico here, where they said it might be a little drier. So that's their September, October, November outlook. Their October, November, and December outlook. Um, as we get into the start of the winter, kind of the start of the winter time here, um, they actually increase their chances of a warmer than normal period here. Again, this is for the whole entire 3 months, October, November, and December. So it overlaps with the last outlook for both October and November. And we're adding in December and taking this September here. And again, they also expect drier than normal in the Pacific Northwest, this is actually consistent with an El Nino. Usually we do get below normal rainfall in the Northwest, and they have starting to creep in a little bit of above normal precipitation in southeast Texas, which again, I mentioned is because the eclipse does go out into the Gulf of Mexico there. All right, so that is for the October eclipse. They do also predict out um, into next year. They actually go out a year. So February, March, April. This is their outlook for February, March, April. Again, they only do 3 months at a time, so there's no way of saying, okay, exactly on April 8th, when the eclipse is going to happen, we're going to see it warmer than normal in the Northeast. No, this is their 3-month average. This is 3-month expectations. So for February, March, and April, they have an above normal chance of temperatures of higher than normal temperatures in the Northeast, possibly some higher than normal precipitation along that part of the eclipse path in Arkansas to southern Illinois. So let's go to their March, April, and May outlook. We see roughly the same thing, except they're above normal precipitation as we move north now. And this is actually relatively consistent with their outlooks from earlier. Now this one is centered on April. Their outlooks from earlier, when I looked this past April, they also had an above normal chance of rainfall in Arkansas, down in the lower Ohio Valley here as well. And I think they do that because of El Nino, but spring following El Nino. But El Nino, on my research, typically corresponds with a drier than normal, a little bit higher probability of a drier than normal spring in the same area. So we'll see. But this is probably because, well, if the temperatures are warmer throughout the winter time, which kind of happens in this time period, you could see a little more thunderstorms earlier in the spring. I'm not 100% sure why they do that, but April, May, June, they expand this above normal rainfall up into the lower Ohio Valley as well, up into the Midwest. All right. Almost done with these. Just give me 1 second here. All right, so I'm going to look at, this is the same CFS model that I looked at before, and I can't again. I was looking for, I guess I don't have this on here. I thought I had it open. I do not have it open. So let me, oh, I do have it open. Here we go. That's actually okay. So this is the upper air pattern from that climate forecast system model here. And where we see these lines go down, we're basically seeing colder air. When we see them go up, we're seeing a ridge, so warmer air, and so on. So this is the forecast for the first week. This goes out 6 weeks. So if we go forward to, this is a week here from October 9th through October 16th. So this week, so now we're drilling in more into a certain time period, 1 week and 1 week instead of a month. And it's forecasting pretty much straight west to east flow across the west. Now, when we get into a month away, 29 to 35 days away, and we average a whole bunch of different possibilities, we usually get this where everything averages out and we just get straight west to east flow. We don't the averages usually don't have ridges and troughs like you would actually see in normal weather. So this really doesn't tell us much. This far out, 5 weeks in advance, what the weather might be, but we can look at other products from the same model. Again, this is a month out though. Sorry, this is valid for a month at a time. This is for October 2023. Just like we looked at for the Kansas model, this is now for the climate forecast system model. And so we're kind of going back to what I showed you at the beginning, but for a different model. And for October, it pretty much has above normal temperatures for the whole entire country, except for a little bit in New England. Is it forecast for temperatures going to April in the same model, February, March, April. All right, this April, it has forecast of possibly much above normal temperatures across the north, which is very consistent with an El Nino, and possibly below normal temperatures across the south, which is also consistent with an El Nino. So this forecast from this model may be based on that, based on the El Nino situation where we usually have jet streams come across the south part of the country and bring a lot of rain and storms to the south part of the country. But we'll see if that actually extends into April, because usually the greatest impacts of that are from January through about March. All right, so looking at the precipitation now from the same model, which is this one. Okay, so if it forecasts, draw the eclipse path on here, the approximate eclipse path. Right, it's approximately there. So this model is forecasting approximately equal the normal precipitation across most of the path, maybe some scattered areas of above normal down in Texas and below normal up in the northwest, which is actually kind of consistent from what we've seen so far as well, with possible slightly above normal, slightly below normal rainfall in the northwest, and possibly a little bit above normal rainfall here in the south central part of the country. Go to April here, and this is what I was talking about here. This climate model forecasts below normal rainfall across the whole entire Ohio Valley for next April, which will be important because this is right where the eclipse comes. The eclipse comes right through the Ohio Valley there. So if we can get some clearer skies right in that area, that would be ideal, obviously, for watching the total eclipse next April 2023. All right, the last thing I'm going to show you, which is actually something I'm going to show you a little more here coming into the following week. So this is the climate model that goes out 32 days. It's like one of our regular computer models that we run and we look at, except in terms of the fact that it tries to forecast day-to-day weather as opposed to an average for a week, average for a month. It's actually the same model. It's a climate forecast system, but but they use it as a weather model a little bit here in terms of trying to forecast day-to-day weather. But the resolution is not very good on it, which makes sense because the further out you have to forecast, the worse the resolution is going to be. So as we get closer and closer, we'll be able to look at more and more models as well that have better and better resolution. But this one goes out 32 days. It was ran September 10th yesterday. So it's forecast right now up to October 12th, which is 2 days before the annular eclipse. So we can start looking at this and seeing how it changes throughout the days. Of course, like I said, it's going to be worse and worse as we get through it. Sorry, the forecasts are getting worse and worse in the longer term, but as we get closer and closer, we'll hopefully get better and better. And what I might post after this instead of these videos all the time is just, what the latest, what this thing says and how it might be changing. So you see, this is its forecast from yesterday. This means September 11th at 0Z, which is midnight in London. So this was Sunday, September 10th here in the United States. This is Hurricane Lee out here. This is I didn't look up to see how you pronounce it. It's Margot. I don't know. Margot kind of looks like a French name. I probably completely saying that wrong, but it's okay. All right. So you can see that it, in the near term, it does have the features of the remnants of, I believe it was Hurricane Jova. I can't remember the name. I think that's what it was. Now in the Pacific, which may be down to a tropical storm now. So, all right. So you see, this ridge and this trough. So in the near term, it can forecast all this. I mean, this isn't a forecast. This is actually in analysis of what the atmosphere actually looks like. So as we go forward in time, you can see it tries to forecast. Okay, what's going to happen to all these features? And here's Hurricane Lee. Hurricane Lee is going to track up this way. I haven't looked at the latest on whether it's going to possibly be pulled into New England or going to Nova Scotia. There's been a lot of back and forth with the models on that, but the CFS, the climate forecast model here, is moving it kind of right in that area, right to the southern Nova Scotia. But so you can see, my point is it's trying to forecast all these day-to-day weather changes. All right, like I said, it gets a little less accurate as we go forward. So let's go forward in time here a little bit. It forecasts this big ridge, this big trough here to come south into just off the west coast. Actually, this is September 26th. A big ridge to form here over the middle to eastern part of the country, which will probably provide much warmer than normal temperatures, mostly up here in the upper Midwest and Canada, as we kind of have this upper low sitting down here. This is after Lee makes landfall. All right. Now, as we go into late September into October, what this model has been trying to do is been trying to build a ridge here across the west and then a trough in the central part of the country. All right, this is October 4th now. And let's go to the very end here. Let's go to the sure. Okay, this is October 12th now. So this is 2 days before the eclipse. And we're looking at a ridge currently forecast along the west coast and a trough into the central part of the country. Now, that's the upper air pattern. The precipitation associated with that ridge would be dry across the west. Some showers and thunderstorms along a cold front associated with that trough moving to the central part of the country, and then dry in the southeast ahead of that cold front. Now, of course, as I said, this is 2 days before the eclipse. we don't have a forecast for the eclipse yet, and even then it'll be wrong. But that's why I don't really look at those at these details. But I just wanted to show you what that would mean. But in general, it's been trending toward a ridge here in the west, which would match our possibly a ridge west of, some dry air west of the Cascades, below normal temperatures. And like I said, I bring that up. I bring west of the Cascades the most because that's the most likely place in the west that you won't be able to see the eclipse, because that's the start of the wet season usually in the west. Of course, in recent years, summer type weather, which means dry and warm, have extended well into October in recent years. So we'll see if that's again the case for those areas west of the Cascades. The rest of the eclipse path in the west is typically dry anyway, except for the area of southeast Texas, so southern southeast Texas, which normally have it's the more humid side of Texas, and so they get a lot of air off the Gulf of Mexico. And if we get a hurricane coming in from the Gulf, then just forget about seeing the eclipse in Texas. So that's far too out, of course, to look at that at all. But we'll see. Again, there's not much really else to say other than this is the climate. But we're starting to get into this period where this model might start being a little useful. So we'll see. So sometimes it is pretty good going out into the future. So, all right, that's it for now. September 11th. Future updates will probably be shorter. Unless, of course, it's a long time before I do another update. I probably won't do another update for the April eclipse for at least a month. But so for the next month, I'll probably be talking about this October 14th annular eclipse here in the western part of the country. All right, that's it for now.